Hello, hello, it's Maria. I'm a reporter here with WDW Magazine, here to take you on another magical escape. Tonight I am coming to you from Epcot, where I am about to head to a staple World Showcase restaurant, Tutto Italia. I'm really excited for this one because this is my first time ever eating at this restaurant, so I have absolutely no expectations. So without further ado, I'm gonna head into the park and head to Italy. Let's go. I'm here at my table in Tutto Italia in the Italy Pavilion here in Epcot, and this is my first time walking in. So my first impression of this restaurant, it does not feel like I'm at Epcot because the area that I'm seated in and my whole journey from when I checked in through to the inside lobby is all inside. It is all murals around the entirety of the restaurant on the inside, though that's painted to look like you are looking outside. The murals are really well done. There's one that looks out like you're looking over the canals of Venice. There are a couple jesters, Italian jesters, that are putting on a show for you. And overall, this is very, very dark wood theming in here. It feels like a classic old school style Italian restaurant. Those are the vibes I'm getting. There's a wood table, very beautiful, polished up wood table, and everything in here is very, very nice. There are some really, really cool glass sculptures around here too, but it's giving me old Italian restaurant vibes in here for sure. I'm going to start this review of dinner this evening off in the order that I am served. So I am pleased to report that you do get complimentary table bread here at Tutto Italia. A lot of restaurants, specifically a lot of Disney restaurants, have completely stopped giving out complimentary bread. That is a huge pet peeve of mine. I really, really hate when restaurants do that, and never having been here before, I had no idea if they did that or not. And as soon as our waiter came over and said hello, he brought us some bread. It also came with some bread sticks and some olive oil for dipping. This bread was really tasty. It came to the table warm, which I really appreciated. It was a crunchy on the outside, but really soft and dense in the inside bread, and it was really nice and chewy. I like that kind of bread. I don't like a hollow, crusty bread. Like this was really, really nicely proportioned between the outside crust and the inside with the chewiness. The Italian olive oil to dip it in, of course, is really, really tasty, and I like that on bread. I actually prefer that to butter, but I'm sure you could request butter if you like that too. The breadsticks were fine. If you like those crispy, hard breadsticks that come in the package, they're kind of all the same. That's what they were. We also ordered some drinks and cocktails this evening here at Tutto Italia. A glass of wine. I'm going to start with the review of that one. I'm here with a large party, so I'm going to talk about everything that we got here this evening, not just the things that I got. So I'm going to start with what I got, though. I got a glass of the Pinot Grigio. I got the 5-ounce glass. You can get glasses of wine in 5 or 9 ounces here. I got the 5-ounce. It's very, very nice and dry. Of course, it's served chilled because it is a white wine, and I like a dry wine when I am eating a savory entree, which is what I'm going to be doing here tonight. So that's the option I went with. So far, really tasty. I think it's going to pair well with what I ordered. The draft beer that one of my party members got this evening is an Italian classic draft, a Peroni. He said it tastes like a good draft Peroni. It's nice and cold. The mug that it's in, I was holding it earlier, is really nice and heavy. So it's in, it feels like it's like in a stein that was chilled, which is nice. He said it's nice and crisp and nice and refreshing. It's a hot day here today, so that's a nice one to cool you down. But the most exciting drink that my table got this evening is the Italian red sangria. This is a Cabernet-based sangria with rum and fruit juices, and I did steal a sip of it. I'm going to be stealing sips and tastes of everything here tonight at the table, just so, of course, I can give my review too, right? I have to do that when I'm with a group. But this Italian sangria, fruit juice forward. That's the first thing I tasted, was the sweet fruitiness of it. There are some pieces of fruit. There was a maraschino cherry. I think there was an orange floating around in there too. And this is an iced sangria. So those are all floating around in there. Really get the fruit flavor up front. The rum I'm not really tasting, but that probably just means that it's a dangerous one, meaning that it's a sweet sangria for sure, and one that you really can't taste a lot of the alcohol. So if you like a dry wine or a dry sangria, this one probably would not be for you. But if you like a sweeter drink, definitely get this one. But be careful, because like I said, I really cannot taste any of the alcohol. I just finished up with my appetizer course here at Tutto Italia, so I'm going to talk about that before I move on to what I got for the entree. Entrees, plural, because like I said, there are several folks here tonight and we got a lot of different things to talk about. So starting with the salad, the insalata mista is what I got for my appetizer. It is mixed greens with endives, arugula, radicchio, frise, white asparagus, radish, and a balsamic vinaigrette dressing. We got the dressing on the side. Overall, this was an extremely fresh salad. Every single one of those ingredients that I listed that are in the salad are there, they are represented, and they were all really, really fresh. No wilty lettuce, the radishes weren't brown in any way, everything was super duper super fresh. The dressing was a thicker dressing for a balsamic vinaigrette dressing, and it definitely was a little bit creamy to it, but overall, super, super fresh salad to start off with here this evening. Not really a whole ton to say about it other than that, but that's what you want in a fresh mixed green salad, in my opinion. On to the main course here this evening. For my personal main course, I went with the tortino di melanzane, which is baked eggplant, parmesan, pomodoro sauce, mozzarella, and parmesan cheese. This was baked, so it's not breaded and it is not deep fried. The eggplant is thinly sliced and it is layered with the cheeses and the sauce. And I could tell that this was baked in a very, very hot oven because the edges, the little teeny edges that weren't covered with sauce or cheese of the eggplant that were sticking out when it was baked were really nice and dark and black and crispy. So that crispiness gave way to a super soft, super thin sliced layered eggplant. Their sauce here that was present in a lot of the dishes that we got here this evening, the pomodoro tomato sauce, I really like it. It's very, very tomato forward, and they used a really good olive oil that you can tell because I really got a lot of olive oil flavor when I was trying all of the different dishes here this evening. It's a heavier for a tomato sauce, but that's not a complaint because the olive oil that is used is definitely very, very good and very high quality. I really enjoyed it. And that was the sauce that was on my eggplant. This was technically under the appetizers here, but it is what I got for my entree. I also ordered off the sides menu a side of the spaghetti with the pomodoro sauce to kind of pair it with it to make it a little bit more of a meal. I thought this was a good portion without the spaghetti, to be honest with you, of the eggplant, especially because you do get the bread with it and I did get a salad. But to have the option of being able to order a side of pasta with it really did make that a really complete meal. And it was that same pomodoro sauce on the side of spaghetti. The spaghetti was cooked really well. It was not soggy, so I could tell that it had not been sitting for a long time, which I appreciated. And that same really rich in olive oil flavor tomato pomodoro sauce was on the spaghetti. I didn't need to add any Parmesan or extra cheese to this. I thought this sauce packed enough flavor without adding any of it, but they did come around to the table and offer some Parmesan cheese on top of it when we were presented with our appetizers and our entrees. We also got an entree here and several side dishes tonight. Let's start off with the entree, the gnocchi sorrentino. The gnocchi sorrentino is potato gnocchi dumplings with roasted tomatoes, pomodoro sauce, and burrata cheese. This was a good portion, and being that potato dumpling gnocchis are usually on the heavy side, I thought they gave you a nice amount of all of those things. Again, that same pomodoro sauce was used in that dish. You already know how I feel about it. No different here in the gnocchi dish. And nicely cooked potato gnocchi dumplings. My top 10 favorite gnocchis I've ever had are on Palo on Disney Cruise Line. Best ones I ever had were on the Dream when I went there. And no gnocchi yet has held up to that standard quite for me. But these gnocchis were very good, and these were a potato gnocchi, so they weren't as soft as a ricotta gnocchi. They were not at all falling apart or crumbling apart. They really held their shape nicely together, and were a little bit on the firm side to really hold the shape, which was nice, especially because it had a heavier burrata cheese on top of it, so to make sure that the gnocchis held up being a potato gnocchi was nice. The burrata cheese added like a coolness and a creaminess to the entirety of it, and it was right in the center of it, so if you wanted it throughout your portion, you would have had to mix it through. Nice, full, again, portion here on this one. And for the two sides, we got a side of green beans and a side of the mushrooms. I'll start with the side of the mushrooms. To quote our server, I asked him how they were prepared because it just says mushrooms on the sides, like no description on the menu other than mushrooms. So I said, how are the mushrooms prepared? Thinking he was going to say like, oh, they're fried or, whatever. And he just said, in a pan. So I really did not know what to expect with the mushrooms. I went with it. I said, all right, we're going to roll with these mushrooms in a pan. So I got the mushrooms in a pan, and they're the one thing that I've talked about so far that I would skip if I were to return here to Tutto Italia in the future. They were just a bunch of different types of chopped up mushrooms. They were not like classic portobello like you'd find everywhere mushrooms. These were crimini mushrooms chopped up. I'm not really up on my mushroom slang, so I'm not exactly sure what type they were, but I know that they were not the classic like portobello or whitecap mushrooms. They were definitely a little bit more on the exotic side, and they were chopped up with garlic and butter. They were not bad at all, so don't take my word as mean that they were bad. But you really have to like mushrooms to like these. I'm here with my husband. He loves mushrooms. He's one of the main reasons that we got them here. And he thought they were great. He really loved them. And I thought they were cooked nicely. They weren't chewy or rubbery. but they really were earthy, is the best word I can think to describe these mushrooms, is earthy. And you tasted everything about them. So if you don't like mushrooms, if you only like them if they've been breaded and fried and you've got like a marinara sauce to dip them in, these are not the mushrooms for you. I personally would not get them again on a future visit. We also got a side order of the potatoes here this evening. These were crispy, lightly fried, halved baby potatoes. Super salty and a lot of parsley on them. I think the parsley is what gave them the Italian flair. They did serve them with ketchup, which I didn't use the ketchup. I did on one of them just to see if it added anything to it. I mean, it was traditional, probably Heinz American ketchup. I don't think they needed the ketchup at all. I thought they were nicely salted and seasoned with the parsley on their own. These were pretty classic and approachable potatoes though. Really nothing spectacular to write home about, but they weren't at all bad. I would probably get them again because I really like a nice side of potatoes to complement a meal. Very approachable though. Anybody with a palate that is not very adventurous, I would definitely say would like these potatoes. And I thought they were seasoned nicely with the parsley to add a little bit of an Italian flair to them here tonight. We also got a side of the green beans. This was huge, this side of the green beans. Like compared to the side of mushrooms, the side of the green beans was enormous, and they are the exact same price. So again, another point taken away, in my opinion, for the mushroom side here, and add it to the green beans. You really got a lot. These were cooked with tomatoes and garlic, cooked really nicely. I enjoyed these green beans. I had several of them. I thought they paired nicely with everything that I personally ordered here tonight, and the size of the order was definitely shareable with everything else we got. I thought they were a good bang for your buck. Nice way to pack in some greens if you want to here in a meal, and they were really nice and flavorful with the tomato and garlic additions as well. Wrapping up my meal here overall, I want to start with the atmosphere, talk about the food, and talk about if I'd return. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is my first time here. I had no expectations and no idea what to expect. This is a classic Italian restaurant. It, like I said, really gives me old school classic nostalgic Italian restaurant vibes in here. The dark wood is very, very Italian, and the murals on the wall are certainly giving Italian vibes, especially the way that you could peer out. This is a Disney restaurant though. However, I really do not feel like I am in a theme park sitting in here. I certainly don't feel like I'm in Epcot. There are windows, there's an outside area that's not seated this evening because it is raining this evening, and they've got the flaps down and no one's seated out there tonight. But maybe if I were out there, I would feel like I were in Epcot. And there are windows I can see even from my seat out to the outdoor Italy pavilion area, but I just do not feel like I am in Epcot here, which is good. It's a good escape to come into a restaurant like this. It is a Disney restaurant though. It's loud. I was recently in Tony's Town Square in Magic Kingdom, and it was loud in there too. So that's just a Disney restaurant thing, I think, that comes with it. However, when I'm in a booth, I'm seated in a booth here this evening, I do feel like I'm in my own little world. They're serving around me, but I don't feel like it's manic or chaotic or really hectic around me, which is nice. But it is loud. You are in a Disney restaurant. Overall, the food, this is classic Italian fare on this menu. From the drinks, the sangria, and the classic Italian wines and beers that we got tonight, all the way through to the food that we ordered, everything is classic Italian. And the pomodoro sauce especially was something that surprised me here. I've, like I said, never been to this restaurant before. I always go to Via Napoli because I love that pizza over at Via Napoli. But this evening, this was an open reservation, and since I have some family visiting, I thought this would be a really great place to check out since I'd never been here and we had never been here before. And every single one of us, there are 4 people here, did enjoy it. And the freshness of the ingredients is a plus for me, a big plus for me. The servers were always around. He dropped off our food. He brought everything at once. Even though we ordered a lot of different things, he brought everything to the table at once so everyone could eat together. When we needed extra water, he was always kind of nearby to flag down. Didn't bother you, wasn't constantly breathing down your neck or anything, but it was good, attentive service. And when I'm here with family, when I'm at any restaurant with family, that's what I want. A service team or a server that is nearby if I need them, but not constantly asking if I need something. And he was not at all like that. He was great and very, very on top of things here tonight at Tutto Italia. So being in my first experience here at Tutto Italia, would I return? I would. I would not hesitate to come back here. I thought everything was very good. I really, really liked the eggplant. That was fantastic. But I'm not sure that I would choose this as my top Epcot restaurant. I love Shiki-Sai. I love Via Napoli. I love eating around the world when there is a festival here in Epcot. It's not to say that I would not come back here though. I would definitely come back here, especially with folks who might be visiting from out of town who had never been here before. And the other two restaurants that I mentioned sometimes can be really tough to grab a reservation. The reason I came to Tutto Italia tonight was because it was an available reservation. So that is a plus. That is definitely a reservation that's a little bit easier to get. And the fact that every single person's food was good, that's a big thing at a restaurant. Sometimes one or two things, or if I were to just get one thing, I might have liked or not liked what I had gotten, but somebody else can have an opposite experience. That wasn't the case here tonight with my family. Everybody liked what they got. As soon as our reservation time was called, we were seated immediately. There was no wait, and it's busy here this evening at Tutto Italia. It is midsummer when I'm here. It is a weekend, and it is busy. It's a Friday night tonight, and it's prime dinner time. It's 6:30 right now. So to be seated and taken in pretty immediately when we checked in within 5 minutes was really, really great. Like I said, I was recently at Tony's Town Square in Magic Kingdom, and we checked in, and our reservation time wasn't called for a while after, and it did take a while for the food to be served. That was another busy weekend, and it was a holiday at Magic Kingdom too, but the difference was definitely notable here tonight. We were taken right in, seated right away. The food came quickly to the table. Everything I could tell was prepared to order. None of the pasta was soggy. It was nice al dente. Everything was cooked really well and really fresh. And overall, I and everyone in my family here tonight really enjoyed everything. And that is going to do it for me here this evening at Tutto Italia in Epcot. Is Tutto Italia a restaurant that you usually come to when you visit Epcot? Or after seeing this, would you try it out? Leave us a comment down below and let us know. Thanks again for following along. And a reminder that this and all of our videos are brought to you by WDW Magazine. Link is in the video description to subscribe. Thanks again for following along with me tonight. My name's Maria, and I'll see you in the next Magical Escape.
Start your WDW Magazine membership and escape to Walt Disney World every single month. This large format, glossy magazine is filled with tips, secrets, history, and so much more. Become a member and don't miss another month of magic.